After the balance patch hit the West, Berserker is back on the map for both Mayhem and Berserker's technique, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about Mayhem. Now, if you want to watch a video going over the new build for Berserker's technique, then go ahead and check out the description. It'll be down below because I already made that one, but today, it's all about Mayhem. So the biggest changes for Berserker in general was that we got Overdrive, which replaced Strike Wave. Thank goodness. This skill right here, Overdrive, it's a really, really good skill. I like this on both Mayhem and Berserker's technique. It has very good tripods for both, so I'm really, really enjoying this new skill. Another thing that changed is that we're going to be taking Brave Slash now. This is actually a really good skill and in the mid-range tier of damage for us. Another interesting change is that Mountain Crash got Vital Hit Point attached to it, which is traditionally not a Mayhem skill. You'd usually be using Chainsword, but in my opinion, this one gives you more crit rate, so it's a better option, even though it does take 7 skill points to get to the second tier of tripods to activate that, and you get the damage amplification of the first tripod to provide more synergy for your party, which is always a good thing. So let's get into the specifics of the build. Now, as far as the normal typical damage skills that we already have been using, they haven't changed much. So Finish Strike, you are going to go 3-3-2. On Brave Slash, you're going to go 2-2-3. On Sword Storm, you're going to go 2-2-1. On Mountain Crash, you're going to go Damage Amplification and Vital Hit Point. And then on Overdrive, you're going to go 3-3-1. Now, you can do Limit Break on this skill. Over the course of a fight, it's not really going to make much difference, but in my opinion, this tripod just seems to flow a little bit better when you're doing raids and Guardians, Chaos Dungeons, all that kind of stuff. So this is the one that I like, but you can also do Limit Break as well if you want the chance to see bigger numbers. But again, you are going to have to take that cooldown penalty of plus 12 seconds. So it kind of offsets each other with the damage difference as far as the cooldown difference. So it's totally up to you. Definitely suggest you to try out both in Trixian and see which one you like better and then go for that one. For Hellblade, you're going to go 2-3-2, but now this is no longer a charging skill. You're just going to jump, leap, push that thing into the ground, and it's going to explode. Easy peasy. So it's a much shorter skill, so it allows you to have much smoother rotations, which is really nice. As far as Tempest Slash, you're going to go 3-3-2. See, with this one, typically we would have previously gone with Driving Hit. That makes it a normal skill, but with Storm Slash, it just seems like a better option. Now that we don't have so many charging skills, now we can add this charging skill in, and it really doesn't feel bad. It feels pretty good when using this. And then of course with Red Dust, we're gonna go 1-1-1. A huge difference here though with the Mayhem build, because these rotations are a lot quicker, they're a lot smoother. You are going to have to use a lot of focus runes, as you can see. You're going to have to use a lot of them because when you're using Nightmare, you do not want to go into the Boundless MP state where you're doing less damage, your cooldowns are better, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to want to remain in this enhanced magic addiction. If you do not have that many focus runes, this is going to be a harder build to pull off if you're having really good uptime on the boss. Now, as far as engravings go, they're pretty much the standard thing. For me, I like using Mass Increase. This is what I originally built my Mayhem build on before I switched to Berserker's technique. In my opinion, I don't really notice it. The build still feels really good because you have so much movement speed and you have so much swiftness here. It really offsets it. Plus, when you're with the support, you're still flying around the map, so it's really not a big deal. Of course, we're going Grudge, Keen Blunt, Master Synasty, and Mayhem. The reason I'm still using Lostwind Cliff is because number one, this is my alternate roster, so there's no chance I am even going to be close to Light of Salvation. But at the same rate, every single Keen Blunt class I've ever tested Lostwind Cliff to LOS 18, Lostwind Cliff still performs the exact same or better consistently. It's still better to do this, and that's just because inherently the more crit rate you have, the more damage you're going to do through the engraving, plus of course just because the more you crit, the more damage you're going to do as well. Before we get into the rotations, I want to talk about the damage priority for your skills, because there is a pretty big disparity through some of these skills. Now obviously Finish Strike and Overdrive are going to be doing the most amount of damage, then comes Hellblade, then Brave Slash and Sword Storm. Sword Storm tends to do a little bit more damage, but Brave Slash and Tempest Slash are going to be your lowest damage skills, including Dark Rush. So Dark Rush is really only going to be used for stagger or weak point. And you know, we can just test this out real quick. As you can see, going through Dark Rush, it's doing about 5 million. Even with a level 7 damage gem, it's doing about 6 million or so. And as you can see here, we'll just test even Brave Slash. It's doing 6.6 million. So then that's already more. Dark Rush is your lowest damage skill, even if you have gems on it. It is at the lowest of the totem pole in terms of your skill priority. When you're in a boss fight, obviously you're going to be having to run around, dodge max, all that kind of stuff, which is why you need to understand which skills do the most damage. Because, for example, Finish Strike might be up, but you say you haven't used Tempest Slash in a while, so you just, you go out to use Tempest Slash, but in reality, you could have done 3 times the damage with Finish Strike instead. So this is why it's so important to understand which skills do the most damage, so you need to be using them extremely well off of their cooldown periods. So let's get into these rotations. Now Mayhem is much more lax because your skills are always coming off a cooldown. You have much higher swiftness, so your cooldowns are lower, and you're going to be having these crit skills, these crit buff skills come up very quickly, and you get your skills out relatively quickly as well. So in general, it is more lax, and that's why, again, you need to know which skills are doing the most damage so you can use them as a priority. But if you, let's say, for example, have all of your skills up, you're going into a fight, you're ready to rock and roll, you can use all of these skills in a very, very smooth manner, as I'm about to show you right now. So as you can see, it's very, very smooth rotating through all of these skills. Now, when you start putting all that together, as you can see, if you are really having good uptime, it's going to be very tough to keep this from going into balanced MP, which is exactly why I said earlier, you have to have a lot of focus runes to be putting on these skills. Well, I did do a new DPS test with my Berserker's Technique build yesterday, and we got about 4.5 million. All of my items are the same. We just changed the engravings back to my old Mayhem engravings, and of course, put all the tripods at level 5. So let's see what we're looking at now in terms of a 1-minute DPS parse. It's looking not bad, but I already know that it doesn't have a chance against a BT Berserker because these numbers, they seem so soft comparatively, if I'm just going to be 100% honest. Like, BT does so much damage now, and it's freaking awesome. Okay, so 3.6 million. So all in all, beforehand, my Mayhem Berserker was doing about 3 million damage per second, which this is definitely an improvement, about somewhere between 10 to 15%, which is really, really good. I'm super in favor of that. Of course, the rotations feel much better. The whole class feels smoother, and I really like the changes that they've done to the skills. If you were to ask me, would I rather play Mayhem or Berserker's Technique, I would definitely still choose Berserker's Technique because the damage output is so much higher when you're in burst mode. It's ridiculous. And the dopamine hit is out of this world, brother. It's freaking sick. I love playing Berserker's Technique, especially now. I really enjoyed it then, before the update, but now it's really fun to play. And of course, Mayhem is still fun to play as well, and it's a very viable and very good class. And you're going to see a ton of Berserkers on the MVP screen, whether they're playing Mayhem or Berserker's Technique, because what they've done is they've effectively raised the floor of how much damage you're going to be consistently doing, because it's much easier to get that damage out, and it's a much smoother gameplay experience for either of the engraving choices. Let me know if you play Mayhem or Berserker's Technique, and what you feel like is the biggest difference, and if you would switch to the other one now that the update has happened and these changes are in place. I'll see you on the next video.